So I wanted to put a video up about two different things. First of all, a brief thing about our big box pedals. These are pretty cool. Let me get Affinity up. Affinity. Come here, Affinity. I've been surprised at the response I've had from these. What are these about? They're like these massive big box pedals. When designing a pedal, I've always thought that the more prototypes, the better, really. I mean, nearly everything I've ever sent to production has had some mistake in the final version that I've had to then work around, cutting tracks on the board or whatever. But thankfully, I've never had a mistake that's so big I have to bin the boards. But obviously, more prototypes is better. Now, as we've got more complicated, I can no longer make the prototypes one-to-one real size because the parts are so small. And I mean, the finished product, that's fine. I'm going to use machines to place it and use tools to do that. But for prototyping, putting tiny 1.5mm parts on and then trying to adjust that, So yeah, that's where this was born. This was just a random moment of me going, well, why don't I just make them big? And then I can use big parts and I can reach everything. And I've been really surprised at the reception these things have had. I don't know what to do with that, I don't know if to make some more of these or sell these, but I feel like I probably have to do something with these big box versions. So this is the big box Grand Classic, and you can see on the side of the screen there the real version, which is literally half the size that's going to be made. So I don't know, it's pretty cool, right? They're the same controls, and it gives people a chance to try them out. And this is at all the guitar shows this year from now on. It'll be at Brighton, it'll be at the London Kempton Park one, it's going to be at Leeds, so come along to try that out. Very soon, the real thing will be at them. But even so, even when the real thing's out, I have another big box here. How cool is this? Let's get this in if I don't get too much glare off the screen. I'm terrible at this. So this is the Tone Lord 2. Now, the Tone Lord was my first great selling pedal, and I loved it very much. And I thought to myself last year, around September, I thought, it's time for a new version. Let's wind this down and sell the stock off. I'm bound to have a new version by January. No, of course I didn't. Well, whilst this thing stresses me out because it's so complicated, a lot of the systems I've developed for this, like the switching system and the expression jack system, the overall layout and structure, all of those things form a format. And the format's very important to a pedal manufacturer. So it's taken me a year to create this, but in reality, probably 9 months of that is the format. And that format carries over into this pedal just as well. Because this pedal is going to have the exact same board layout in terms of the outer shape. I mean, you see here it is. The jacks are in the same place, the switch is in the same place, the Xpression Port is in the same place. Those things don't ever have to change. I've done that. I've worked those out. The way parts interleave and lie on each other. The switching system, this momentary soft switch, done. This will be the exact same in this as it is in that, as it is in that. So it saves a huge amount of time. Consequently, this will be out quite quickly, where people have had to wait a year for this. You're probably going to have to wait a few months for this. And I've been doing this in my spare time. When I get too stressed of the orange monster, I just work on the blue monster for a bit. So consequently, this is actually kind of really far on. Plus, of course, it's based on the Tone Lord 1. So it's reasonable to say 70% of the circuit's the same. So we've got 70% of the physical design is the same, 70% of the circuit. So this is quite an easy win. But of course, the Tone Lord was so well received. It did so well. It was my first Kickstarter. I loved it so much. And I think this update just addresses a few, not issues, but things that I thought could be better. For one, on the Tone Lord 1, we had a boost switch for the EQ. So when you were picking your EQ modes, I'm sorry, it's a bit blurry this, I know, camera focus, you picked your EQ mode, you had a switch that said more or less, whereas now we've got a knob so you can dial in the amount of tone boost. So you pick your tone era, So you've got sort of bass 60s, treble 70s, very trebly 80s, I'm going the wrong way here, you know, mid-range 90s, and an additional one now, which I've done for fun, which is an ultra-fat noughties one. And I mean, that one's not really... The others were based on some albums that I never admitted which they were. I just listened to them and thought it sounds this. I admit that the noughties one is just based on my preconceptions of the fact that when the turn of the century happened, everything just got fat. So I made a giantly super warm one. I thought that was another thing with the original Tone Lord, is there was some really great mid-range and bright sounds as you expect of a clean boost. But there's nothing really fat, so I did that. And the funk button here, funk, adds low end girth for 7 strings, 8 strings, and people with basses. The air, interesting, adds a bit of top end. It opens it up. It doesn't just have top end, it changes the way the EQ works, which is pretty cool. The Nova button does the same as the old Lightning Strike. Pretty much nothing's changed there. I might have tamed it just a touch because it was completely crazy, but I haven't sort of decreased the gain. I've just changed the way the brightness comes in. So that's like the treble bleed. It makes things a little brighter and gainier. Boost is boost. So yeah, it's just a really ultra versatile clean boost. And I've learnt more about circuit layout, so hopefully this one will be even quieter. It certainly won't be any worse. The first one was shockingly quiet. And again, I'll sort of admit there was a bit of a happy accident with that. You know, it was my first serious pedal. I didn't fully know in every way what I'm doing. Heck, I don't know now fully what I'm doing. I mean, who does? But I know more. And a few things I look at it now and think, ooh, I'm lucky I got away with that. So, yeah, there we go. That's going to be our coming soon. Tone Lord 2. And, of course, the Grand Classic, which is very soon here. So, I mentioned the Xpression pedal. Pardon me, I'm a bit... it's a bit late at night and I didn't really plan this one at all, but I thought we just haven't had a video in ages and I'm bored, frankly. I'm sat here bored. I can't watch any more television. So the Xpression pedal, this X-Port it's called, and this I've changed the name a couple of times, I admit. I think as it says XPC, X-Port, whatever happens on the Grand Classic, that's what it's called. I don't want to use the word expression because it does extra cool stuff that a normal expression doesn't do. So if you plug a Xpression pedal into it, a standard 3-pin type, then that will activate the Daughterboard. Talk about that in a moment. And the Daughterboard will give you some sort of an effect, and you can change that Daughterboard out. You can unscrew the back of the pedal physically, and there'll be a little board in there about 2 inches square, and you can just pull that out on the connectors, and you can put that to one side and put a different board in. That board will do something. Those pin connectors are a new standard I'm trying to define that will be open sourced very soon. Now, documents to any maker who's interested, any builder, they're all there. That basically let you put an effect either pre or post the effects pedal. They allow you to get to the access to pre or post sections. They give you access to all the power, they give you access to all the switching, and a bunch of other cool stuff. So the Daughterboard can talk to the pedal. And then, yeah, through the Xpression Port, plug a regular pedal in, and it activates, and you've now got a pedal. But that's a bit rubbish. We don't necessarily want our Xpression pedal to activate all the time. So I figured out quite a clever strategy. So how this works is it detects the ohms of your Xpression pedal. Anything 10k ohms and upward, which is say every Xpression pedal on the market, it just works like an Xpression pedal. But if it detects that ohms go below 5k, which no pedal does, then it knows you want to switch the Xpression off. Clever. So what this means is that any Xpression pedal used with this, if you have a switch in it, you can have a wired resistor across it. So when it clicks the switch, it straps that resistor across the pot on the Xpression pedal. The Daughterboard detects the resistance change, the impedance change, and goes, time to turn the effect off. So we can have a full second effect in that Xpression Port. It's not just, we can Xpression feature the pedal. When you plug it in, you get a second effect. In order to let you guys use any kind of Xpression pedal you have lying around, I haven't got a picture of it. I'm making a small box which has one knob and one button. The button will act as the on-off, and the knob will act as an Xpression pedal. In addition to this, you don't need anything else. That will work on its own. It also has an standard Xpression pedal jack on it, so then you can plug another Xpression pedal in if you want. So you've got this great versatility where you can either plug a normal Xpression in directly, and it'll just work all the time. You can plug a modified Xpression with a switch in, like a wah pedal you've modified, or I will eventually sell them, but it's not on my priority list. And that will allow you to use the effect variably as an Xpression plus turn it on and off. Or, and this I will sell, you'll get the Xpression box, which you can use by itself, and that will give you a foot switch to turn the Xpression on and off, and a knob that will be a fixed amount, or you can turn it with your toe if you're one of those sort of people, because I'm planning on a very large knob that you can turn with your foot. And that unit will allow you to daisy chain another Xpression into which will overrule it. Now I've also got some even cooler stuff coming, which won't come immediately. I've got two-dimensional effect system. So obviously if we're measuring the impedance and using it as an on-off switch, I can do some extra clever stuff with this, and we'll have a 2D Xpression system in the future. So there's a lot of expandability. One of the things I'm doing with this Daughterboard system, and it's very hard to explain in words, I apologise, again there will be better videos as we go on, but this is really the big introduction, is a focus on expandability, usability, and trying to do something that hasn't been done before in a way that hopefully everyone can benefit from, because I don't want this to disappear into the ether. I do not have, big Behringer Boland? Boss Roland Boland. Let's call him Boland. I don't have Boland money, so I can't make this thing happen off my own back. So if I start trying to copyright this thing and trying to pin it down, it's mine, it's just going to die death. So I do not want to do this. I've always been a little bit socialist in my heart anyway. I like to try and do something that people can get into. So yeah, this protocol hopefully will be fully open source. So I will give everyone the specs, and then if you want to start using this Xpression system, go ahead, knock yourself out. I want you to use it. And like I say, it's completely backwards compatible with the standard Xpression. It's also, by its nature, compatible with CV voltage of 5 volt, as has already been done. So a lot of us have combined Xpression CV. This will allow you to do Xpression and CV and switchability, which incidentally will work with the CV as well, and you can have it as a gated control system, because you can gate the resistor, that's quite clever, or you can use one. So have all this, and the Daughterboard itself too. And I mentioned the Xpression jack, I'll mention some of the Daughterboard features. Now this is a bit more technical, so hang on, bear with me here. This is just the schematic of I'm doodling. 2.1 inches wide, 1.9 inches, and these parts are a specified distance. These green round circles are the connector pins, for those of you who can't read schematic. The ones in the middle are irrelevant. It's these little clusters. So we have 6 pins for signal, which is pre send and return, post send and return of the pedals. Whatever you plug it into, those are in the same place. So any Daughterboard can choose to be before or after. The second 2 are undocumented at the moment. They're basically going to be analog control pins. We have the 6 Xpression pins, which are the 6 pins on the Xpression jack, because you have access to the switch pins as well. So the Xpression jack will always be part of the pedal. That's the design system. So it's fundamentally the pedal, but the functionality is part of the board, because it makes it easier to remove the board. You're not messing with the case. And again, yeah. And then we have the power board, which will supply the raw voltage that comes in the DC jack, whatever that is, so you can have to deal with that yourself. But it'll supply the plus, minus, and earth, so the fake floating earth, so you can just pick up the audio voltages. It supplies 5 volts up to 100 milliamp less the current draw of the reload. So it'll be a 5 volts at something like 80 milliamp, 75 milliamp. I'll write that in the spec. So you've got a 5 volt supply regulated out of the pedal, that's part of the spec. And then the other pins access the switching system, because we have momentary switching on the pedals. So your Daughterboard has the capability of switching the pedal on or off, or reading the state of the pedal and mimicking it. So I don't really know what use that is, but it seems useful to me. Because I think one of the other things I will have on the Daughterboards is I'm planning on having them MIDI readable. So I don't see any reason. The first one's Xpression pedal only, but talking a little about going forward now, and we've got 3 pins, which is fine for MIDI. So we'll be able to put MIDI onto these boards. It's fine for MIDI over other formats. There's lots of different things we can do with that. We can also draw those out as on-off control pins. We'll need a little bit of protection diodes, but there's no reason we can't have remote control on that. So we can remote switch, another thing, remote switch many pedals from a central command unit. That comes into something else I'm doing. There's a lot of control for the designers in this, and this board, chose it, this size because it will fit into all the common pedal chassis that everyone I know uses. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's quite compact. All of them, pretty much. Apart from the stupid super slim ones with like micro knobs. Doesn't fit in them, sorry. But technically, that's very interesting, if you don't want to stick, this is where we also get interesting, to this format, you can make it narrower and it's still, that's the maximum size. So if you had one of those nano pedals, there's nothing to stop you as a maker making a slimline board to fit your nano pedal, and it would still be compatible with every other pedal in existence. You're going to be short on board space, but you know, if you use some very small chips, you could probably do something interesting with it. So yeah, a huge amount of compatibility idea, huge amount of versatility, and I say very hard to convey this in words. As I go forward with examples, I hope everyone will like this. I really think it's something cool that will crack open a new way of looking at pedals. Instead of seeing them as isolated things on a pedal board, seeing them as things that have the ability to talk to each other and do cool things and have cool features. So right, next bit. What exactly does this board do? So this is a low pass filter board. What is that? This is the one that comes with the Grand Classic. Will be available on its own, and when the Grand Classic goes on sale, this actually probably won't be sold with it because it's too expensive at this point. You'll be able to choose pedal on its own or pedal plus board, or buy the board at a later date, or as I make other boards, choose other boards. But the low pass filter is a kind of synth-like wah sound. A lot of the synth guys, it's a standard bread and butter sound they have, and they sweep it up and down and makes really great sounds. Guitarists, we don't tend to have this one as much for some reason. We tend to have a wah. Now, a wah is very similar to a low pass filter. A wah has a mid-range peak that we sweep up and down, and that gives us the classic wah 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 sound because it's in the mid and it works with a guitar. A low pass filter is a similar thing, but what it is, it's rolling off the treble. So instead of having a mid peak and say we'll move the mid up and down over our frequency band, we're going to say we'll have the treble here and we'll bring the treble down and up, and we'll roll off and block out, and we'll draw a line and say everything above this line is not audible, everything below is. So as you wind it down, the treble goes out of the guitar and it gets thick and syrupy, and you make a thick and syrupy one. It's pretty cool. But obviously, we'll make a wah unit soon as well, because it's actually almost the same circuit. So we'll have a wah unit, so you'll be able to have a wah in your Grand Classic if you want, fully functional on the Xpression jack. Totally up to you, or not. We're looking at making a fuzz, because I mean, I'm crazy. You can make a one knob fuzz. Why not have a variable one knob fuzz? You know, let's have that. Obviously, a one knob clean boost, because that's what we're thinking is this is effectively a one knob pedal where the wah is your variable pedal. We can have a one knob wah, we can have clean boost, you can have filters, you could do Leslie's. You know, a proper Leslie has a fixed rotational speed, and you really want to just bring it in and out. So you'd have your Leslie and you bring it in, bring it out maybe, or we could do something clever with that if we had a bit of switching. So you bring it in and past the halfway point, it goes up in speed. So volume and speed, so we could do something really cool with the Leslie in here maybe. Choruses and flanges, obviously delays and reverbs. You know, wouldn't it be great to bring in a solo delay and just come in and your delay comes in? You know, there's lots of little things, and there's nothing to stop us putting presets on this board. There is again, lots of documentation going forward. There is a second type of this board. This is the standardized fits everything board that I want everyone to use. As I said, you can make it slimmer if you've got a slim pedal. There is I call this the standard. There is a large version of this board. I've just put the outside. They're both really standard, even though it's standard version. This is slightly different. This might happen at some point. This fits exactly in the trapezoidal pedals, and there is reasons for this, which is I may be putting some controls on the side in the future for specific things, but we'll see about it. So yeah, there you have it. That's a big long waffle of what we're doing. We're up to with all of that. The only thing I can close with at this point is that the Grand Classic itself is well underway. We've got the boards back, and I'm very happy with them so far. I'm currently learning. That's too strong a word. Not learning to use my machines. I know how to use my machines. I'm currently tuning my machines, is the right way to put it. because they're new machines, they need to be calibrated, and this is a huge amount of work. They don't auto-calibrate. I have to teach it the dimensions of every part and locations of things. It's quite a lot of work, and I've had the feeders for the new machine which feed the components in, and they're brand new. I haven't even updated the firmware for them, so everything's changing very fast. So I am underway with it. However, a week from now is the Brighton Guitar Show, so this will be interesting. But my plan is to do some videos of that equipment to take with me and have it displayed there. So it should be quite cool. I've toyed with taking the equipment, but it's too much. If I move it, it'll go out of sync. It's a terrible idea. But I'm going to take videos of it all, and hopefully some hands-on stuff. So in addition to being able to try these out at the guitar shows, you'll also be able to see the physical boards that I'm making, and see some of the physical things, and have a little play. And hopefully I'll see you all there, and you'll come over to chat, because I love talking to people and tell you all about the crazy things I'm doing. Yeah, and have a lot of fun. So I hope that wasn't too long and boring. Like I said, very unplanned. Just me sat here at, what are we at? 11:05 PM. So I'm going to go get a cup of tea and upload. I'm going to upload this and get a cup of tea, and then come back and check it and verify and enjoy. Catch you all soon.